Alright, so here we go with my first TU5 build video. In this one I'm going to be looking at something I'm kind of calling the jack of all trades build. And if you've kind of paid attention to my critiques on Title Update 5, basically what I don't like is the fact that they kind of got rid of the lines between, you know, like a hardcore skill build and a regular like DPS build. They've kind of blurred that with some of the skill changes that they've made. So basically, what I've done with this new build is show exactly what I mean. So basically I went through and actually built a build that basically showcases kind of the problems with this patch. Now this is a great build and I'm going to probably be enjoying it, especially in PvP for quite some time. But that doesn't mean that I don't see the problems with it. With that said, if you enjoy the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Ding the bell for notifications. It'll really help me build the channel. Thank you very much. With that, let's roll into the build. As you can see, I'm running the Demolitionist with a pretty nice P416. I've got Optimist, Allegro, and Recharged. And focusing on accuracy and stability there. For my LMG, probably something you've seen a bunch of times now just because I love having it around. Nice M60 with unhinged, optimized, and again recharged, and focusing on that accuracy and stability. Double barrel sawed off, not really too important. But rolling into the mask. Alright, I have a Gilligard mask with rolled in health. It's a nice high health roll, and it came with a very low skill power roll, which is perfect for what I wanted. That way I can roll a high skill power onto it, and I don't have to worry about the normalization so much. So I can use this build without too much difficulty in normalized or something like the ODZ where there's no normalization. I have a utility mod slot. Here you can see 500 plus Seeker skill power. I'll get into that in a minute. You can see I'm not using Seekers right now, but I'll get into that in a minute. So then I've got Alp Summit chest piece. I wish this was kind of reversed because that skill power is way too high for what I'd want. Again, if you saw the mask, I want a really high armor and a really low skill power so I can boost up that skill power. So this one, I'm probably just going to hold off until I can find some sort of better adjustment for that. But it came with hardened, so that's really nice too right off the bat. Alright, and then we got my Fenris holster. Pretty much the main reason I'm using the Fenris holster, 10% assault rifle damage. But this one also has devastating, which is really nice. And it came pretty much how I wanted it, with a really low skill power roll. So I rolled that up to 614. 20% skill haste, take it or leave it. That's not really so great. If I could get a blue roll there with health, somewhere in the 30 to 40 K range, that might be really nice. Alright, and my backpack. Another Gilligard. Had this one for a little while now. Not the best armor roll on there, but I don't really care that much because obviously I use it in normalization a lot. So it just gets nerfed, so it's not really that important. But my skill power is pretty low on it, which means I have to roll other pieces for more skill power. But it has on the ropes and hardened. So it's rather tough to try to get a better roll than this. So I'm just currently using that one. I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, and on my gloves, obviously just 11% assault rifle damage with compensated. Nothing too special there. Obviously I would like to get some better, maybe a better piece, maybe some Murakami or something, but these are good for now and they do what they need to do. Alright, and then my knee pads. Gilligard. Pretty simple one. I'm using Gilligard. 2 defensive mod slots. But this one also has a nice 9.5% total armor bonus. I have a couple 10 pieces, or 10.5%, but I haven't changed it over quite yet. So I haven't really decided if I'm going to keep insulated or not. There's a couple other talents that I might want to have, but for right now, especially with the amount of hazard protection you probably want to be rocking right now, this one's actually pretty convenient for the time being. Alright, so now you know what I want. High armor, high health, and then a really low skill power just to roll that to fight normalization, which basically that's the kind of the key. But you can see I have a really high amount of skill power. Plus I've also got 3 additional mod slots for utilities that I can use to basically just kind of boost up whatever. This one has a 500 Seeker Mine. This one has a 374 Drone. And this one also has a 328 Drone. Now basically, when I say jack of all trades build, I basically mean jack of all trades. I can use those 3 utility slots to basically get 3,000 skill power for anything. When I started the video, I mentioned that Title Update 5 kind of destroys a little bit of the boundaries between skill builds and DPS builds. And basically that's what I've done here. I have a high damage build. I've got 20% from spotter, 25% from on the ropes, 15% from compensated, with 2 additional reds, so 11 and 6. Not the greatest. Obviously, I'm focusing more on skill and armor than on reds, but still, I'm doing more than enough damage with these pieces. I mean, that's almost 100% extra damage. So basically, I've doubled the normal weapon damage of this build, which is pretty good for a heavy skill build. And it doesn't even really feel or look like a skill build, just because I've invested basically all my yellows, with the exception of 2 skill hastes. Everything is into skill power, giving me a huge boost, allowing me to use really strong damage mods. Doing things like having a 10-second cooldown on my pulse, so I have pretty much constant uptime with my pulse. It's a very, very gray area now. It really basically just destroys any need to actually have a full skill build. My actual skill build, as far as PvP goes, this build is far more superior. I think the skill build is a little bit better in just PvE, just because of the quick cooldowns and a little bit more damage, so you can one-shot pretty much everything with the Seeker Mine on the clusters. But even so, this one does a fantastic job. Like I said, I can still put my clusters on there. I can put pretty much any skill at 300, or I can put pretty much any skill at 3k skill power. So it all depends on what I want to run, how I want to run it. The last thing that I want to mention is that status effects are actually starting to come back into play now. You're going to see a lot of people running the BTSU gloves. You could switch out the gloves on this build and actually would be really strong. You'd lose some weapon damage, but you wouldn't have to worry about that 3 red skill stat. So you could basically just find other places if you really wanted to insert it. And that'll pretty much cover it for this build. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate the views. Leave a comment below telling me what you guys think, what you guys are building, what you guys are doing, and I'll see you in the next one.